What's up, guys? And before we get into today's video, I want to shout out Scott on Tape. He is actually the one who originally posted the video that gave me the location of where today's video is taking place at. And you know, he seems like a nice guy. He's from Los Angeles, where he does a lot of his videos in California. So Scott, I want to thank you. And also, in the video, I wasn't really looking at the camera too much, or I was stuttering on some of my words, and I kept repeating the same thing over and over because this location actually meant so much to me, and it truly hurt me. So my mind wasn't in the right mindset that y'all normally see me in. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. What is going on, guys? It is Exploring with Jay, and we are here in Bartlett, Tennessee at Memphis Funeral Home and Memorial Gardens, wanting to show y'all a grave that hasn't really been seen too much on YouTube, but it's somebody that is actually pretty dear to me. Y'all may know exactly who he is. If you didn't know, a couple years ago, Jerry the King Lawler's son, Brian Christopher Lawler, was arrested here in Memphis, Tennessee, and unfortunately, while he was in prison, he committed suicide. So I just want to show y'all guys Brian Christopher Lawler's grave. We are here in Lakeview Gardens in Bartlett, Tennessee, and I have a couple of stories about Brian that are actually near and dear to me. His brother, Kevin Lawler, owns Memphis Wildfire Wrestling, and a couple of years ago they had a St. Patrick's Day party, a St. Patrick's Day event, and during that event, a midget, like a little leprechaun, come out there throwing chocolate coins in the sky. And then after the show, Brian comes up to me with a Kroger sack, a plastic Kroger sack, and says, "Here, you have these, and if your mom asks anything, tell her Uncle Brian gave them to you." So when I got home that day, my mom was mad that me being a young kid, I had all this chocolate. Until I spoke up and said, "Well, Mom, Uncle Brian gave it to me." She was like, "Do you mean Jerry Lawler's son, Brian Christopher?" "Yes, Brian Christopher Lawler, the GrandMaster Sexay." Well, if many of y'all don't know, Jerry the King Lawler's son, Brian Christopher, was tag team WWE with Scotty 2 Hotty and the great Rikishi. Brian is the son of Jerry the King Lawler, brother of Kevin Lawler, and Brian was a great man, a real great man. I can tell you that much from my personal experience. But we're gonna pay our respects and visit Mr. Brian Christopher and fix his flag here. He was too cool from July 1999 until recently, when he passed away in 2018. So here we are at Brian Christopher Lawler's grave. You see, he has two memorial headstones. One says Brian Christopher Lawler, wrestling superstar, Grandmaster Sexay, January 10th, 1972 to July 29th, 2018. Loving son, brother, and father, lifelong Steelers fan. Then when you go up here, it says Mom, Dad, Kevin, Caden, Curtis, and Blake, with his other headstone that has his picture. And just for the sake of heart, Brian, I will fix your flag. Big Steelers fan. If y'all don't remember what Brian looked like, there's his picture. I will leave pictures to show of Brian during 2 Cool Days and pictures before he passed. I tell you, this right here is like, it's hard for me to even look at because I love Brian. Brian was a very good guy. Brian was a ultimate good guy. Always had choice words. Always pretty kind-hearted. He loved his young wrestling fans. And he loved kids. He loved being around kids. He loved seeing kids smile and seeing kids happy, which I really enjoyed about Kevin myself, about Brian myself. Kevin was his brother. Kevin's a pretty nice guy too. Even Jerry. Jerry was an amazing guy, and Jerry still is an amazing guy. I've met Jerry a few times with his son's wrestling event, and even sometimes here in Memphis in stores. And he's always been pretty nice. He's always been pretty kind and pretty sweet. But I'll show y'all this pond with these infinity fountains. You don't really see him in the video. We got Brandon over there too. Got anything you want to say?
Like and comment, subscribe.
You heard it from the best. AJ's not here because he's at work, but you heard it from one. But anything you want to say on the topic of GrandMaster Sexay, Brian Christopher LAWLER?
Even though I don't know him that much in WWE terms, I'm sure he's a great person, and this is a beautiful place out here, and it is very...
I'll sit here and tell him what I just told y'all.
Yeah.
So Brian's brother Kevin has Memphis Wildfire Wrestling, and a couple years ago me and my other brother went to one of their wrestling events, and it was St. Patrick's Day, and this little midget come out from under the ring just like Hornswoggle, and he started throwing little gold chocolate coins in the air. And after the show, Brian come up to me and gave me a plastic Kroger sack full of chocolate gold coins. And he said, if your mom asks, tell her Uncle Brian gave them to you. And when I got home, my mom was not too happy with me being 12, 13, having all this candy. Thought I was gonna get crazy hyper. And I said, well, Uncle Brian gave them to me. She said, who is Brian? I don't know who Uncle Brian is. I said, GrandMaster Sexay, Uncle Brian. Oh, you mean Jerry's son? He's a great guy. And all the other wrestling events, I just love seeing Brian. And even with Jerry, I still see Jerry in the stores a lot. I've seen him at the wrestling events because they've had a lot of events that we went to. And I've met Jerry a couple times, and even when I go to see him in stores, like whenever he's out shopping, out and about, I've always had a fun time talking to Jerry and had a great time with Brian. Brian Christopher started his wrestling career pretty young, and he was part, like I said, he's part of Too Cool with Scotty Too Hot. He was, and the great Rikishi. At first it was just a double tag team between Scotty and Brian, and then later in the early 2000s Rikishi joined Too Cool, which if y'all don't remember, I will put a picture right here for you guys to look at and remember. But WWE is taking a lot of hard losses lately with Brody Lee, Bray Wyatt, I forgot his name, but the Indian guy that just passed not too long ago, and a lot of that. Well, as we always say, make sure if you're here, you come pay your respects and come see him. He's right as soon as you come in the gate, and there's this little pathway here on the exit side. He's right about over there where that, you see where that black bench is sitting? That black bench, I don't know if y'all can see it, but the black bench right here is going to the guy behind him. But you always see that Pittsburgh Steelers flag flying in the wind, which Brian was a major fan of Pittsburgh Steelers. And Brian just loved his wrestling career, and we all loved watching him. But as we always say, may you rest in peace, Brian Christopher Lawler. Any closing remarks?
Like and comment, subscribe, and like you said, make sure you come down here, pay your respects and all that.
Like, comment, subscribe, and like I said, make sure you come pay your respects. Or let me say it since AJ's not here, subscribe. Peace out, y'all. I love y'all.